Hi, in this video, I want to show you another way that we can use loops in our code. The first example, I have copied the code from demo 1 for week 3 to week 3 demo 3. It's the same code. I told you before that we were using a variable as a counter. The name doesn't matter. You can call it counter or I or F or whatever it is. Whatever variable name you want, you can call it that. But the purpose of that variable is going to be to count how many inputs you have received. That is the purpose of that variable. Here in this case, it is called as counter. We can call it as X if we want. It doesn't matter. So in our case, we have a variable called counter, and we are increasing the value of the counter every time we get an input. If we want 8 inputs, after the first input, counter becomes 1. After the second input, counter becomes 2. So I had shown that to you using this whiteboard. After every input, how it happens. And then when we reach the count of 8, then we say no more. We are done. We are enough with the input. In demo 2, I showed you instead of using 8 here, how we can ask the user to tell us how many inputs they have. And that was demo 2. So this is a third demo, which is a variation of number 1. It is called a Sentinel Controlled iteration. What I mean by it is, let us say that you're doing this program, somebody is doing a data entry. They have a bunch of documents that they have to convert to digital situation or whatever. They don't know how many documents they have. They don't want to sit and count all the documents. Okay, they just have a bunch of test scores they want to include. They don't know it's a big bunch and they don't know how many are there. So there is a way for us to ask them, hey, are you done? Hey, are you done? Each and every time we get an input, we say, do you have more input? So having something like that, so working with the loop where you do not know how many inputs are going to be there or how many times you have to do the loop. The variation on that one, when you do not know how many are there, we use other means of identifying when to stop getting inputs or repeating the loop. Okay, in this case, for example, you would have seen this when you did programming or when you use some website or application. So it will say, enter the score of the kid. Once you enter, it will say, do you want to continue? Yes or no? If you say yes, it will ask you enter the score of another kid. If not, it will say, oh, okay, now you're all done. This is the average. So that is the flow we want to do. So we want to ask a question saying, hey, are you done? Every time after a score is input, we will ask them, is there any more? Are you done? Yes or no? So we have to capture the answer, right? Every time. So first we ask the question. So the answer, so instead of this counter, we are going to say if the answer is equal to S. We continue. The loop will happen when the answer is yes. What is answer? Answer is going to be a string variable. We are going to default it to a yes to begin with. Otherwise, the loop won't even execute. Okay. So initially, when you come in the very first time, we want to at least get one input, right? So we are going to force this to go. We are setting the answer to yes. So we are saying while answer is equal to double equal to yes, go ask for the test score. Then save it. Add it to the total. Increase the counter. Now this counter will tell us how many students have been input so far. Now it is 1 at 1, right? Now we say instead of, we can't use the counter because we don't know how many kids code they have to enter. So we have to ask them. So we are going to ask for answer. Answer equal to console.readline. It's a string, so we don't have to convert. And here we are going to have a prompt. Do you want to continue? Say yes or no. So I'm going to comment these two lines and just show you how this part works. Let's see how this works. Enter score of the kid. So one score it will always ask, right? In this situation, I enter 78. It says, do you want to continue? If I say no, program ends. If I say yes, I can enter another score. If I say yes, I can enter another score. If I say yes, I can enter another score. Now I say no. Okay, so okay, let's do this one more time. So I got the first kid, I say yes. I got the second kid, I say yes. Third kid, yes. Fourth kid, yes. Fifth kid, no. I have 5 kids. So you've entered the score of 5 kids. So the number 5 is stored in my counter, right? My counter now has tracked how many kids have entered. My loop is controlled by the answer to this question, yes or no. When I say yes, it will go into the loop. That is this condition. When I say no, it comes out to line 22. Okay, what about average? How do I calculate average now? Average equal to total by 8. No. For my situation, at least this data I've entered, it's 5. So for first situation, it could be 2. So which variable holds the number of kids? Counter holds the number of kids. So instead of that 8, I'm going to say divide by counter. And then I'm going to show the average. This is called as a Sentinel controlled loop. First kid, yes. Second kid, I want more. Third kid, I don't want any more data. So I have to total 78, 45, and 78 and give me the answer. So you've entered the score of 3 kids and the average is 67. Let's double check the average. So I enter 78 plus 45 plus 78 divided by 3, which is in the counter, which is 67. Okay, so this is called as a Sentinel controlled input. Iteration, Sentinel controlled iteration, where we don't know how many times to repeat the loop. We ask the user when to stop. Okay, we just ask the user when to stop. They themselves don't know how many times they want to loop because they may have like a bunch of stack of data that they have to enter and they don't want to go and count all of it. Okay, so that is Sentinel controlled. Usually we don't use that much. We usually know the count, but there are situations where you may have to do that. So this is in week 3, demo 3 in my Repl, and I hope you find this video helpful. Thank you.